Before I begin this video, I just want to give a public service announcement to my viewers who don't usually watch Ultraman. You can watch this first episode of Ultraman Decker with English subtitles officially on YouTube for free right now. I'll leave a link in the description to that episode if you're interested. You can understand this first episode just fine, even if you haven't seen any other Ultraman seasons, but also don't forget that like a lot of other Ultraman seasons are just available on YouTube with English subtitles officially for free. With that out of the way, hello everyone, it's thomasjujube, and Ultraman Decker is the latest addition to the long-running Ultraman franchise, functioning as the sequel to last year's Ultraman Trigger, and by extension a reimagining of 1997's Ultraman Dyna. The show just premiered this last weekend, and I really enjoyed the first episode, so in today's video, I'm going to give you all of my thoughts on it, what I liked, didn't like, weird voices. Before I begin though, consider leaving a like on this video if you find yourself enjoying it at any point. You can leave it right at the end of the video. It helps me out no matter what. And also make sure you leave me a comment telling me what you thought of this first episode of Ultraman Decker. And also don't forget that if you haven't seen the episode yet, it's available here on YouTube with multi-language subtitles for free. Make sure you go check it out. So for reference, I haven't seen Ultraman Dyna, and I've only seen half of Ultraman Trigger. I'll finish it eventually and review it eventually, NZ. So one thing I was pleasantly surprised by is how accessible this first episode was. Obviously, I feel like you wouldn't need to see Dyna to see this episode, but I liked that despite not seeing the finale of Trigger, I was never really confused by any of the sequel aspects taken from Trigger. There are references to Trigger, of course, but it was really cool that this works as a standalone premiere to an Ultraman show. Any stuff that was from Trigger can be chalked up to the standard Ultraman world building. You see these two ships fly in and they talk about that, and you're just like, oh, those are just the two attack team ships. But it's really cool to think about how we've seen like these two ships get built and utilized in a previous show. One of my favorite parts of the episode was the inclusion of the Mars colony from Trigger. We don't see it for very long, of course, but opening the episode on Mars, just like Trigger did, was a really cool touch. And something about the dialogue between the characters about the creation of a second colony on the planet and seeing how easily people are going to and from the planet was really satisfying as this development from Trigger. I thought we were going to end up returning to Mars, but instead having it as this passing mention was a really neat way to connect to the previous show and show how much time has passed. However, I do wish we got a moment with someone thinking Decker was Trigger. It would have been kind of neat, even if they don't look similar. It's like a little foreshadowing, I guess, and obviously a very obvious connection to the previous show. Thanks to the sequel aspects, the sphere has this incredibly ominous vibe. By mentioning that it's been 7 years since monsters attacked, when there's this crazy invading army in addition to a new kaiju, it felt like the stakes were really high. And by the end of the episode, it feels like they're even higher because in a way, the bad guys won. The sphere successfully managed to encase both Earth and Mars in a sphere, which seems like that was their main goal. So like, oh no? But I don't think I've really seen a premiere episode where the villains win, sorta. So that's awesome. And I also love the inclusion of some overarching villain faction. In the Ultra seasons I've seen, usually the bad guys are just like one crazy person that's just doing things. So having this big enemy force is super exciting to me, and I can't wait to learn more about them. Unfortunately though, they also cause my least favorite part of the episode, and most unfortunate is that part is the birth of Ultraman Decker himself. It just felt really rushed. Kanata gets absorbed by the sphere and is floating in this void for only a few episodes before BAM! Suddenly Ultraman Decker is here. Kind of, how, why, where? It's super out of nowhere and jarring and kind of took me out of the episode. Maybe we'll get an explanation eventually, but right now there was kind of a rushed pacing and it just makes this whole sequence my least favorite part of the episode. And the TPU people saw Kanata get sucked up right before Ultraman Decker arrived, so I feel like they should be able to connect the Dotsies Decker, at least Master right here, but they don't, so that's a little weird as well. But maybe he does know and this is all gonna get explained later. If this is all explained later, this will make this first episode even better, but for right now, it kind of drags it down a bit. The voice of the Changer is also weird. I just don't really like it. So that also tempered my excitement in this part of the episode. But afterwards, the fight scene was pretty awesome. Design-wise, Ultraman Decker is pretty solid in my opinion. I know that a lot of you have been asking where I'd place him in my big Ultraman design ranking. I think he would go around the number 15 spot. The gold and cosmic space patterny bits are a really cool touch and give the suit this unique identity among other Ultramen. Obviously, between his other forms, I prefer strong type because, you know, red and gold, and the cosmic effect with an orange tint is really epic. And also, hey, you should totally check out those other ranking videos if you haven't. The actual fight was fantastic as well. I like how it mirrored Trigger and started off with a one-take fight scene because those are just always really cool no matter what. And I was really surprised when it went to space though. That was a really unique fight to include in the premiere episode, and I gladly welcomed it. I also want to say that, like, with Decker's rise and beam attack, all the little rainbow effects, those are really pretty. I really like that. I hope we see more of that. The Decker's theme song, I do have to say, since I made a big deal out of the Trigger theme song, Decker's theme song is not as good as Trigger's theme song. However, it is a worthy follow-up. I really like this theme song. My favorite part of the premiere episode is easily Kanata, Ultraman Decker himself, despite the arrival of Ultraman Decker. I didn't have any expectations for him as a character, but his first scene very quickly won me over. I loved how down to earth he was, literally, not only helping out his grandfather with their store, but also being super friendly to the customers, taking an interest in their lives momentarily, and even offering to help them out. I know right now he's more or less a standard Toku protagonist, but something about the way he interacted with all the other characters gave him this spark I haven't felt this early towards a main character in a while. Maybe it's because he's missing a signature catchphrase and he's just talking to people about his interests and stuff. I don't know.
Smile, smile.
I absolutely adore the ending of the episode, where even though Kanata seems to enjoy helping out with the shop and is very helpful, his grandfather actually pushes him to act on his desire to help people and join the defense team. And it's actually not even the real defense team right now. It seems like it's just a school or something with the characters training to actually be on the actual defense team. The concept that we get to see our main character actively join the defense team, not pre-establish he was already on it or force him to join it because he's an Ultraman, is so cool. It creates this incredibly natural development for him as he works to join the defense team by his own merits, because of his own personal desires, and he just so happens to be Ultraman Decker as well. It speaks volumes about Kanata because it shows he wants to help people no matter what. Even if he wasn't an Ultraman, we can assume he would still be joining this team and trying to save people from the giant monsters, and he also happens to be able to do that with a separate identity. But that's not the important thing here. We're prioritizing Kanata's characterization as Kanata first and as Ultraman Decker second, and I can't wait to see how that'll be handled. This was a really fantastic first episode of this season, but I'm honestly more excited for all the things they've set up here. With a few interesting mysteries, a unique setup, obviously we're gonna get a crossover, and a gripping new protagonist. I can't wait to see what this show will have in store. Hopefully I don't drop it this time. Once again, be sure to let me know what you thought of Ultraman Decker Episode 1 down in the comment section. Consider checking out some of my other Ultraman videos, and also consider hitting that subscribe button for more tokusatsu content in general, and I hope to see you next time.